I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 318. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood, and I hope it's a beautiful day in your neighborhood too. I am actually recording this podcast on Mother's Day, and it's really got me thinking about this whole concept of Mother's Day. And I want to introduce to you today a brand new concept. It's called self-mothering. We could actually call it Self-Mothering Day. There is no day like that so far, but I want to talk about the idea of the difference between mothering and self-mothering. Because here's the thing. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who are mothers who have children. And happy Mother's Day to those of you who don't have children, but still know how to mother yourself. Because that's really what I want to talk about today. It really doesn't matter if you have children or not, because I want to read to you what the dictionary says about mothering, because I think it's kind of interesting because we always think of mother as a noun, but what is mothering? So here's what the dictionary said about mothering. Mothering as an adjective is relating to or characteristic of a mother, especially in being caring, protective, and kind. Now, I love that idea. And for those of you who have children, you probably understand those characteristics. And maybe, well, I would say all of you have had a mother of one kind or another. Most of you maybe wish it was a little bit different. Maybe wish that your mothers were a little bit different. Maybe some of you think they were just exactly what you needed. I have a feeling all of you have different thoughts about your mother. But what I want to introduce to you today is the idea of regardless how you were mothered, regardless of what you got or what you didn't get. I want you to know that what you didn't get and what you think you need is available to you anytime you begin to think about this in a different way. Because if the adjective for mothering is being caring, protective, and kind, I want to use those three words and turn them into using them on yourself instead of your children. Because here's the thing. You can get all the mothering that you need right now from you because you are available. And when I say you, I mean the big you. I mean the observer you. I mean the one that knows all and sees all. I'm not talking about the little you who's got an ego and who is concerned about social media and what people think about you and what people even think of you as a mother. Oh my gosh, I think about that as I was raising my own child, how judgmental it was around women in terms of their own mothering their own children. Should you stay home? Should you work? Should you do this? Should you do that? And I know now it's still like that. We tend to judge each other. But that's not really the point of this podcast today. This is going to come out a couple days after Mother's Day. And whenever you listen to this, I want you to profess to yourself that this day is Self-Mothering Day for you. And here's the three things I want you to think about and do for you no matter what day you hear this. Like this is being recorded on Mother's Day 2022. I don't know, you might not hear it for another year, or you might not hear it for another month. I know that there's people listening to my podcast that I did 5 years ago today. So whenever you hear this, I want you to decide right here and right now that today is my first day of Self-Mothering Day. And you're going to use it as a way of learning to use tools to take care of yourself. Because really, when we raise children, basically what we do is we take care of them. And we take care of them by being caring, protective, and kind. And I don't care how old you are, that's exactly what you need. And I'm hoping you have people around you that are like that. But honest to goodness, there's nobody who can give you what you need like you, as long as you know what you need. So that's part of the thing too. Sometimes we've been raised to be more aware of what other people need than what we need. And no matter how old you are, when you're listening to this, I want this to be the first day that you tell yourself, sweetheart, no matter where you've come from, no matter how you've been mothered, starting today, I am going to take care of you. And I'm going to do it in 3 ways. And in my podcast, I always talk about self-kindness. I always talk about self-compassion. And I always talk about self-love. And I think those 3 aspects are what self-mothering is. So, self-mothering, number 1, caring, self-caring, or self-compassion. All that really means when you're thinking about it yourself is that you're as caring and kind to yourself when you need that extra caring, that you're willing to give that to yourself when you've made a mistake, when something hasn't gone the way that you wanted it to, when you're having a bad day, when you said something you wish you didn't mean, when somebody else said something to you that they wish they didn't mean. Are you able to have self-compassion for yourself? And I love the way the dictionary refers to this, because the dictionary says, as if you were treating your own child. So that's what I want to think about. I want you to think about, if you were your own child, how would you treat yourself when something hasn't gone your way? When you worked really hard for something and you didn't get it? When you're working with me and you're keeping food journals and you make a decision on when you're going to have Joy Eats and you don't stick to the plan? Can you show self-compassion for yourself, kindness? Because one of the reasons I think people love working with me as a coach is because I am so compassionate with them. There is nothing any of my clients could do that would not make me feel totally love and compassion towards them. Because I know the work is hard, and I know that if they make mistakes and they're willing to be curious about them and not beat themselves up and hold themselves with such warmness, they actually will just learn something. Just like you would do for a child that came home and maybe didn't get a grade that they wanted, or it didn't work out for them in a sports match. How do we take care of them? What do we say to them when they don't get what they want? Well, I'll tell you what we don't do. What we don't do is we don't say, you what? You worked that hard and you didn't get it? What's wrong with you? And then start going back and telling them all the things they've done wrong their whole life. Well, I don't think you would do that, but that is exactly what you do to yourself when something has gone wrong for you. You go back into your past and look at all the times it's gone wrong for you. You make yourself feel worse. That is not self-kindness. That is not self-mothering. So instead, what you would do is you would go, oh my gosh, sweetheart, I know how bad you want this. I know how hard this is. Let's have a look at it. Let's use curiosity. Let's become curious. Probably the main thing when you're working with me as a coach is my curiosity about everything that you do. And when I become curious, I teach you how to become curious about yourself. because that's really how you learn. So, number one, self-compassion or self-kindness. Now, the second thing I want you to think about when you think about self-mothering yourself is being protective. That's one of the things the dictionary said about a mother is being protective. And I think of being protective as self-love, of loving yourself. When you love something so much, when you love someone so much, you want to protect them. You want to keep them safe. And mainly, you want to keep them safe from their own brains half the time because you can watch when other people beat themselves up and you won't let them. I want you to be that way for yourself. Now, I think self-love is a very, very overused term. But I want to use it in a way because I've really been working on this myself, loving myself and what that looks like. Because when I see my mom, and I'm very, very fortunate, I know that I am celebrating Mother's Day with my mom still. But one of the things that I always notice when I'm with her is I just look in her eyes and I can see the love that she has for me. It's just written all over her anytime I see her. And, really, when it comes to my husband, Michael, it's the same thing. It's written all over his face. I look in his eyes and I see it. Now, I have to tell you that when I look in the mirror and I look at myself and I look in my eyes, I don't see what I see in the other people that love me so much. Because when I'm looking in the mirror at myself, half the time I'm judging myself and tearing myself apart. And I know this stuff. But one of the things that I've been working on, and I want you to think about this on your self-mothering day, is I want you to practice mirror work. I've said this in a few podcasts, but I really want you to think about this. And there are many people before me that have talked about this. Christiane Northrup, Louise Hay, and now Dr. Deb Butler. And mirror work is so simple, but I've really committed myself to doing it, which means basically that when I look in the mirror, the first thing I say to myself, I look in my eyes, and honest to goodness, I have to tell you, when I first look, I start looking around my eyes and I see a wrinkle or I see a dark spot or I see gray hair, or I look down at my body and I see something that I don't like. And what I'm doing right now in my self-love work of self-mothering is I am keeping myself attuned to self-loving myself, which means I can look in my eyes and say, hello, beautiful. Honest to goodness, I'm doing it every day. And the more I do it, the better it feels. It feels really good to say, hello, beautiful. Now, I want to give you a little example of this because it just makes me smile and laugh, and at the same time, how human I am. So, like I say about my husband, is that he is very loving and kind to me. And one of the things that he does a lot is I'll just come into the kitchen after I get dressed and I'll be ready for a workout or I'll be going out in the woods. And that means that I put on my workout clothes and pull my hair back, maybe put on a little moisturizer, and I'm ready to go. And I'm not thinking to myself how cute I look. But let me tell you, most of the time when I walk in the kitchen, he'll say something like, you look beautiful, or you're as cute as a button, honey. And he means it. He does. And I would look at myself and go, well, I'm just getting ready to go work out. I'm not really putting any time or effort into this. How can he say that? But this is what I am training myself to do, is for me to look in that mirror and say, you are as cute as a button, and mean it, because there are so many things about myself that are. If I choose to look, and if I choose to point my mind in the direction that I want it to go, I can start training myself to see it. Because the only reason I judge and look for all the negative things all the time is because I have trained myself to find all my flaws as if I'm going to fix them all. But really, it's not like I fix them all. It's just that I always think there's something wrong with me. Now, how good is that? Does that feel good? And I'm training my mind. I've been training my mind for years, and that's what my brain likes to do in the mirror. But because I'm working on self-mothering and the aspect of self-love, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just saying to myself, you can't talk to her like that. You love her way too much. Don't say that. And then I'll say something nice. And another thing that I've learned that I really love in this self-love aspect that I want you to try is to look at yourself in the mirror and just say, sweetheart, what do you need today? Or how can I make you happy today? Because really, who else can do that for you? You're the only one. Can you imagine when someone says something nice to you, doesn't it feel good? Honest to goodness, doesn't it? Compliments, they usually feel good. Why don't you give yourself more compliments? This is what I'm saying to myself. I can give myself compliments. And the more I give myself compliments and I train myself to see my own good, which is really all self-love is, it feels so good. You want to feel better? You want to feel good? You don't have to lose 50 pounds to do that. You got to start seeing yourself in a different light. And the more that you give your own self-love, honest to goodness, the easier it will be to feed yourself properly, to take care of your emotional hunger, and to take care of your physical hunger in a way that serves you. But you got to do it from a place of self-love, self-mothering. Now, the third aspect of self-mothering is self-kindness or being kind. Now, I know all of you who are mothers or have been mothered, hopefully you've had a mother that has been kind to you. I know many of you have not, and I understand. And I think many of you have been very, very kind to your children, but maybe not all the time either. But here's the thing. Kindness is part of mothering. And self-kindness is part of self-mothering, which means being kind to yourself. Now, I want you to think of this. I want you to think of this self-mothering that you're going to start doing and that you're going to actually use this day to start it, self-mothering day. And I want you to think about radical self-kindness, not just self-kindness, but radical self-kindness. And what radical self-kindness means is that you do not allow yourself to speak unkindly. Like anytime you catch yourself, and you really have to be aware to catch yourself because you're so used to doing it and feeling bad, you don't realize it's from your own brain. But honest to goodness, if you listen to what I'm saying, because I've done this with lots of women, you can be so kind to yourself, radically self-kind, like all you can do is either speak kind words or you don't say anything. You know, I think there's a saying, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. I think that's a really good thing to say for yourself. If you don't have anything good to say to yourself, don't say it. Just hold back on it. And notice what you're going to say. And notice that it is not useful. And then if it is not useful and it's not going to make you feel better, just don't say it. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, if I did that, I would let myself eat bonbons all day long. I got news for you. When you start being extra kind to yourself and you feel better inside, the bonbons don't look as good because you're not so emotionally hungry, right? If you're filling up your own self with your own kindness, radical self-kindness, it makes you feel better. Now, that is what I wanted to say to you today about self-mothering. Self-mothering is number one, being extra kind to yourself. We're calling it radical self-kindness. Like you're just not going to let yourself, you're going to go on a radical self-kindness diet. You are only going to allow yourself to say nice things or you're not going to say anything at all. And you're going to be protective of yourself. You're going to have self-love for yourself. You're going to love yourself. You're going to teach yourself what it feels like to feel love for yourself. You can touch your heart and you can look in the mirror and you can just say, I love you. Or you can just be wherever you are right now and put your hand over your heart and just say, I love you, and see if you feel something. And, in the Buddhist tradition, there is a self-kindness, basically meditation. It's called a metta meditation. But basically, it goes something like this. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live my life with ease. Now, there are many different phrases of ways that you can say this, and you can say it to yourself, and then you can use it on other people. But I'm saying just for right now, you don't have to be a Buddhist for Pete's sakes. I'm just saying for right now, put your hand over your heart and just say to yourself, and mean it to yourself, may you be happy, may you be kind, may you be healthy, and may you live your life with ease. And you can pick out, I said 2 different phrases each time I did it. You can pick out your own 3 phrases, but enough that you say it that you can feel it in your heart. And of course, the third thing that we talked about today is caring or self-compassion, which is something I've talked about for years, but let's not forget it, that holding a space for compassion for yourself, holding a space for yourself when you are suffering, and giving yourself the space of feeling your emotions, the space of allowing yourself to make mistakes and not hitting yourself and making yourself feel worse is a beautiful gift to give yourself. So, happy Self-Mothering Day, whatever day that you hear this. And from here on out, whenever Mother's Day comes around, I want you to think of Self-Mothering Day too. And not only on Mother's Day, but every day of the year. So before I end, I'm going to say it, but gosh, how many times have I already said it in this podcast? But I'm going to say it again. No matter where you go, no matter who you talk to, no matter who talks to you, please, my darling, 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 be very, very kind to yourself, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drdebbutler.com/change, CHANGE.